Hello and welcome to Rogue Hobbies, where today we are going to be painting some shockingly bright pink armor. This video was originally part of my Patreon collection, and now that it's been around 3 months of me doing this whole content creator thing by myself, I'm really happy to say that the Rogue Hobbies Patreon now has a nice little backlog of videos, tutorials, and even original miniatures for you guys to enjoy. As well as that, if you sign up at the lowest tier, you get to join in with the Discord server, which is now super active and full of people sharing pictures of their Warhammer and their hobby, and talking about cool stuff like memes and occasionally forklift driving. This week, I decided to put out a little vote and ask people which one of my Patreon tutorials they would like to see go on YouTube for free, and I think it was neck and neck between the flat squig tutorial and pink armor for ages, but eventually pink armor pulled through by about 1%, and that's the video that's going on YouTube this week for free. So if you like this video and want to see more videos like it, or get some miniatures or music, then please consider signing up to my Patreon. I really appreciate all the support everyone's given me so far, and it just means I get to keep making videos like this and the ones I put on YouTube as well. So in this video we are going to be painting pink armor on Presentor, who looks a lot like she's wearing old school Space Marine armor, but this tutorial will look absolutely fantastic on any miniature that you want to have shockingly bright pink armor. And this is one of my favorite tutorials I've done so far, and I really like the end result, so let's grab our brushes and get started. The first step for painting our armor is going to be to base coat all the areas we want to be pink using a nice light saturated pink color. And in this case, I'm mixing a 1-to-1 mix of Citadel Pink Horror and War Colors Titillating Pink, which gives us a nice bright saturated finish. If you've ever painted white armor before, then this method we're about to use is going to be quite familiar to you, and fortunately it's also really easy. We're going to base coat the whole armor area using our nice light color, and then instead of adding glazes to shade down the panels individually, we're going to be applying a few recess shades, and we're going to finish up with a few edge highlights. It's super simple, and I promise the end results look clean and crisp. Remember, when you're base coating a mini, especially a light color over black like what I'm doing here, that you want to build up your colors gradually using thin layers, which you should let dry fully in between your applications. It took me around 3 to 4 applications to build up to this smooth, consistent color, and the first couple of layers always look a little bit weird, but don't worry, just take your time and be patient, because this is maybe the most important stage of the whole armor. Once your base coat is complete, our next couple of steps are all going to be focusing on the recesses of the miniature. And in case you're unsure of what a recess is, I just mean areas of the miniature like this. It can be kind of hard to describe, but I guess I mean all the areas of shadow and where armor overlaps or two parts joined together, places like that. Anyways, we're going to start with a chunkier recess shade using some Pink Horror, which we're going to thin down into a glaze consistency with just a little bit of water. We're going to start applying this color into all the recesses of the armor with a nice thin brush to start creating some subtle contrast and shadow. Take your time and work your way all around the mini until it's all shaded using this color. Now it's time for our second recess shade, and unlike the first one, we're going to make this one a little bit smaller so that it falls within the boundaries of our previous one, just like this. We're going to make the shade slightly darker as well, using a 2-to-1 mix this time of Pink Horror and Doomfire Magenta Contrast Paint. And then similarly to our last stage, we're going to thin it down and start applying it to all the recesses, but again making sure that this one is just a little bit narrower and more focused into the deepest parts of the armor. We're going to add one more recess shade using some pure Doomfire Magenta, which is the darkest color we're going to use. So we're just going to focus it into the deepest and darkest recesses of the armor and not all around like our previous shades. Remember, it's way easier to apply less of this color first, as it's always easier to add darker layers of this color later on than it is to take it away after maybe you've added too much. Now that we've finished all our recess shades, it's time to move on to our edge highlights. And the first one is going to be an all-round edge highlight using Watercolor's Titillating Pink. We're going to apply this color all around the edges and sharp points of the armor in a thin edge highlight. Make sure you take your time with this stage, as it'll make the armor look really well defined at the end. And as usual, if you end up making a little mistake, then don't worry, just clean it up with a bit of your original base color. Next up, we're going to apply a slightly lighter edge highlight using a 1-to-1 mix of Watercolor's Titillating Pink and Vallejo Basic Skin Tone. This is going to create a slightly lighter pink tone, and with this color we're going to focus our edge highlights a little bit more towards the sharper edges and corners of the armor, not all around like our last edge highlight was. Make sure as well that this edge highlight is even thinner and falls within the boundaries of your previous highlight too. Now, using some pure Vallejo Basic Skin Tone, we're going to start picking out just the very sharpest and highest points of the armor. This is an almost point highlight, meaning that the areas you should be putting this color on should be very small and focused, including places like on top of the pauldron here where it curves right at the top, and if it has any rivets on the armor, you should pick those out too using this color. This paint also creates a bit of a shift into more orangey, warmer tones, so make sure you're super sparing with it. It'll just subtly make the pink armor look a tiny bit warmer and more skin tone-ish, which is perfect for things like Emperor's Children armor or Slaneshi shields. To finish off the pink armor, we're going to add a final point highlight using Vallejo Off-White, and I usually like to finish with a point highlight of pure white, but to keep this armor looking a bit more fleshy and warm, I've decided to go for this ever so slightly ivory coloured yellow-white. And again, this highlight is supposed to give an almost light reflecting sparkle effect, so make sure you're only applying tiny dots to only the highest and shiniest parts, and this will make your armor look super shiny and well defined. And with that, your pink armor is now complete. This super saturated bubblegum color will really make your mini stand out both in the cabinet and on the tabletop. I've kept my armor very clean and parade ready here, but you can use your usual chipping and weathering methods for a shockingly grim dark twist. And remember that this method and recipe can be used on any part of a miniature you like, not just armor, so feel free to get creative with your applications. As usual, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for being rogues. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!